This is how you're going to upload the data set. Sorry for the confusion today. This is what I originally intended to do, but for some reason, I thought maybe a different way would work. Let's go over this and how to do the assignment. First of all, your data set will be in the Kendall Hunt portal, right? And it'll be called my first dataset.sab. So this is an SPSS file. Again, we're not using SPSS, we're using SAS, but SAS will import this data set. So you'll download this data file. You can't open it because it's an SPSS file. It's impossible to open it. So I'm just going to find its folder. Here it's in my downloads. And that's good enough. Okay, so now I'm going to enter SAS. Once I'm in SAS, I'm going to launch SAS Studio. So once SAS Studio opens, I can work with it. There it is. It's coming. All right. Come on. Initializing. So I'm going to import that in as a SPSS file. Then I'm going to go through a process to convert it to a SAS file. So you'll have this panel on the left side of your screen. So you got to find that panel. Okay, if you don't see it right away, you got to find it, right? And in that panel, I have a whole bunch of stuff. And instead of using our shared drive folder, I'm going to ask you to use this one here, SAS user dot. So this is your folder. These are mine, right? But I'm not going to use those instead. I'm going to ask you to use your own folder, right? Okay. And so there may or may not be files. I have tons of files in mine, but I'm going to click. Somehow I'm going to right click, and whatever the equivalent of right clicking is in Mac, you'll do that. Hit upload files. I'm going to choose the file you want. And so this was in my downloads, my first data set. So this is what an SPSS file looks like versus a SAS file. It has this little red sub spreadsheet under a bigger spreadsheet. Hit open. All right. So that's it. Let's see what else I got to do here. And hit upload. There you go. So the file is uploaded and it'll show up as where are you, my dear? Where are you? It'll show up. I have a lot of files, sorry. My first dataset.sav. So these are all SAS files. So they have that nice looking icon. Well, this one doesn't. So I'm going to right click here now and I'm going to hit import data. So this gives me some, excuse me, some code for importing data. Okay, gives me code for importing data. And it tells me that it's going to, and this is really important, SAS works with these libraries. Okay, and you have to use the libraries. And that's one of the issues I had before because I thought I could just upload this for you and we can just work it, but no, I forgot you have to use libraries. Okay, so we're going to import the file and save it in a library called work.import. Now, if we go to our libraries, at the bottom, you're going to have a whole bunch of libraries, and one of them is going to say work. Work is a temporary one. It's like your working memory. You remember things as long as you need them, and then you forget stuff. That's what a working file does, and it's going to call it work.import. So this is how SAS calls libraries. The library is the first word, then you have a dot, and then you have the name of the file within the library. So it's calling this file import. All right, that's cool. But I don't like that name, so I'm probably going to change that. So I need to find a folder in which I'm going to put these data. So this is something you have to create on your own. So what I will do here is I'll create a library. New, give the library a name. Let's call it, what can we call it? I don't know, let's come up with something nice. How about January 5? I don't know if I need, oh, it just gives me a little, not a lot of room here. So January 5. I need to find a path for this. So it's going to ask me basically where's my file, and I have it in this SAS user area here. I didn't have a subfolder that I just had it under SAS user. Okay, I could have put it in HSC 217, whatever I wanted, but remember we just imported it into SAS user, so that's what we're highlighting, and hit OK. So now this gives me a path here. And I also want to do this where it says recreate this library at the start, because anytime you start up, you want the library to be there. I'm going to hit OK. And again, you can name this whatever you want. You can call it whatever. Hit OK. All right. So now I created a new library. It'll be called January 5. Okay. All right. So we're going to change the name. So if we go up here, it says change. We're going to change the name of the library to January 5. Okay. And we're going to give our data set some name too. We're not going to call it import. Let's call it my first data set. My first data set. And hit save. All right. Once I've done all that, you'll see now that everything's changed. We're going to do this procedure. And this is what SAS calls procedures. They call them procedure or proc. Import, it comes from a SPSS file, and we're going to go output it as a SAS file. Let's go, and it'll be in the library January 5 dot my first data set. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to run this. So I need to find the little running guy right here. Click that. It'll run the code. It says output data January 5 already exists. Replace. Yeah, I guess so. Why not? All right. Here it ran this proc contents, gave me the contents of the file. So I can see that it works. I have age, alcohol, BMI, depression, lunch, sex, etc. These are the variables in the file. Okay. So now I can go up to my files here. And in addition to the .sav file that I had before, I should also see a file that's my first data set .sas7 beat that. Those are SAS files. Okay, so now we're good. Ready to go. Ready to rock and roll. All right, next step. Next step, let's go and create a program. So I'm going to go to this where it says new options, new SAS program. All right, this is going to be your program that you work on. I would just save this one, for the entirety of the semester or week, right, or semester. Maybe I'll call it something like, well, I'm going to put it somewhere. I'm going to put it in my personal file here. You might want to create a sub file for the course. I'll just put it in here and I'll call it, just program one or whatever you want to call it. Or whatever, intercession or something like that. Intercession. SAS. Save. So this is my program file. Within here, I'll do my work. Now let's just run some basic stuff. And your assignment, which you have to download files for it, includes your worksheet. And your worksheet, we're going to do a lot of things here. We're going to put in the variable, different levels of the variable. So this is the sample space we talked about. The N is the sample size, and the percentage is what percentage are, say, male and female. We do the same for all of these discrete variables. And for the continuous variables, I actually call them quantitative variables here. You're going to put the mean and the standard deviation. So we need all those. Underneath, though, you're going to have to place figures, okay? So the figures will be things like a bar charts for all the discrete variables, and then histograms for all of the quantitative or continuous variables. Okay, so let's do some and see how this goes. Alrighty, let's go back to our SAS program. Go back to SAS. Said I think I'm going to use one of my earlier programs just since I have one, if I have one available. Let's see. Do, 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 do. Pause for a second while I look for this. Pause for the cause. Aha, I found one. Okay, so this is a data, a coding sheet I had before, a program I had before. So as I had noted, we have to complete this table that includes frequencies and percentages for the discrete variables, and it has means and standard deviations for the continuous variables, but we also need these figures. We need bar charts for the discrete variables, and we need histograms for the continuous variables. So let's take a look at this. So we're going to use a procedure called proc-freq. Proc-freq. Now I'm going to start this from kind of from scratch here because I want you to see what it looks like. So first thing you do is when you're going to run a procedure, start typing. Proc. Ooh, look, it shows up. So I can double click that. Freq, frequency. Oh, nice. So I didn't really have to do much. Next step, procedure options. Well, we need a data set. So we're going to hit data equals, and we're going to go to January 5. There you go. So that's my library. And then I hit dot, and I'm going to find my data set. So we're going to use my first data set. Boom. That was easy, wasn't it? I mean, that's pretty easy. I put a semicolon at the end. That's how you call up your data set. Next thing, I need some procedures. And so I'm going to do a tables procedure. So I'm running, I need these tables for my assignment. So the assignment lists all the variables you need. If you go back here, you have all the variables you need: free or low cost lunch, sex, past 30-day smoke, 30-day alcohol use, 30-day smoking, etc. You also have a code sheet. Let's go back here. You have to find your code sheet. The code sheet will tell you what all the variables are in the data set. So for instance, age is a quantitative variable. All right. Sex is a nominal variable. That's also, as we mentioned in class today, a type of discrete variable. And 0 is equal to female, 1 is equal to male. So this tells you everything you need to know about the data set. So you need this code sheet in order to complete this assignment. So how are you going to know what the variable's name is, right? So let's go back here to the frequency procedure. So let's do lunch. All right, let's do lunch. Oops. And we'll get rid of all the rest of these. I'll let you do that. We're going to do lunch, and then we're going to have a frequency plot. Again, this is tables is what creates the frequency distribution. And we're going to do a frequency plot. We're going to title it frequency of lunch. Let's do lunch. Frequency of lunch. All right. And run. So you'll notice that all procedures start with the procedure name, with including the data set, and you have whatever um, functions you need, like do a table, do this table, and then you have the run. Okay, run, Forest, run. You probably have no idea what that means. So when I'm ready, I highlight the areas. Now, see, I don't want to hit just the running man by itself because I don't want to run the whole thing. I just want to run this part. So I highlight the part that I want to run, and I hit the running guy here, and it'll produce what I needed. So it produced this frequency distribution for free or low cost lunch. So either they receive free or low cost lunch or they don't. 34 people did, 288 didn't. The frequency is 10.56%. I mean, excuse me, the percent is 10.56%. received it and 89.44 didn't. So this is what you fill in that table, right? Because you had the and, that's the frequency, and you had the percentage. You can ignore these ones here, okay? This is your plot. Now, one of the things that SAS doesn't do as well as SPSS is like I can't right click or anything and get this picture. So what I'm going to do instead, and this is really important, I'm going to click this little arrow here and it'll produce a separate document. This separate document you can save as a PDF, but you can work with it. You can work with it. See, open image, new tab, save image. You need this image. This image, let's see. Copy image. Let's see if that works. Copy image. So this is the distribution for lunch. I'm going to go into the table and where it says lunch. So I'm going to stick this image. Control V. There it is. Voila, I'm done. Okay. So after I put in my whatever my numbers and my percentages in here, I'm going to add the figure. Okay. Let's do a continuous variable. That's my bird in the background. That's Piper. Get to know Piper. It's very important to the class, right, Piper? Mm-hmm. So let's go over here. Let's go back to SAS. So now I'm ready to keep on working, so I'm going to go back to the code. So for the continuous variables, it's a little bit different. I need to do something called proc univariate. This procedure gives me a lot of information, including means, standard deviations, and a whole bunch of stuff. It also gives me figures that I want if I ask for them. So I'm going to put on this figure called histogram, right? I need a histogram. I'm just going to do it for depressive symptoms here. Again, you have to go look at the code sheet to find out what everything is. I'm going to get rid of everything else because we don't need them. You need them, but I don't need them. All right. Now this, to run figure here, I have to actually turn a graphics package on. So this is ODS graphics on. And when I'm done, I should have had an ODS graphics off. Let's see. ODS graphics. Graphics. And then off. Off. There you go. Okay, there you go. So I just needed to run those graphics there. So I'm doing the proc univariate. And again, we do the same kind of stuff for the data set. So I'm going to do January 5 dot, and then my first data set. Variable is depression. I need a histogram. I'm going to superimpose a normal curve. That's that bell-shaped curve. So I can see what my distribution looks like. And I'm going to give it a title, histogram for depressive symptoms. So let's go ahead and run this. I highlight everything I need here, starting from ODS graphics on to off. Hit run. Oh, so this variable is not in this data set. Oops. So let's go see what variables are in this data set, actually. I don't know. I must have been thinking of something else. Let's see. How about did I do it wrong? Depression? I thought I did depression. Let's see. What did I spell it wrong or something? Let's see. Well, let's try self-esteem. That's fine. I might have spelled it wrong. Oh, there you go. Look at that. I spelled it wrong. Duh. Depression. Yeah, see that? It's very sensitive. Try that again. All right. So we got a lot of information here. 387 participants. Here's the mean, 17 point, and I mentioned I like three significant figures, 17.083, right? We round up the 2 to the 3. The standard deviation is 11.063. Okay, I didn't ask for anything else here. There's a lot of additional information we don't need right now. Mean, median, mode, all kinds of good stuff. This is not perfectly normal, if it were perfectly normal, the mean, mode, and the median would be the same, but they're not. We don't need that. We don't need any of this other stuff for now. It's quantiles. That's interesting. Yeah, extreme observations. Okay, so we can get our mean and our standard deviation there. And just like before, we can change this to a separate page so we can download this figure. So let's do that. Okay. So we're going to copy this figure, copy image. This was depression. 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 Control V. And there it is. This is a nice figure. You see, this is the normal distribution, and this is not perfectly normal, so it's what we call skewed to the right. There's some extreme values that pull the distribution in one direction. So you can compare it to a normal distribution. All right, there you go. And look, it gives you the mu and sigma. Haha. It uses the Greek letters here for like the population value, 17.7083. Sigma is 11.063. And there you go. That's it. So that's what you'd be doing, and that's how you turn it in. Obviously, I can help you guys tomorrow, but you can do it if you want from now and get it over with and get it done. All right. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. My voice is dead.